목사님 만나뵈서 반갑고요. 목사님은 2세 목회자로 알고 있는데 목사님 소개 부탁드립니다.
예, 저 이름은 이진성 목사. 거의 30년 2세 목회하다가 5년 전에 비영의 단체를 시작했고, 또 지금 비영의 단체 인도에서 좋은 일을 하다가 교회 연결할 수 있는 목회 그런 브리지를 할 수 있을까, 교회하고 섬기는 사람들, 그런 일을 하고 있습니다. My name is Jin Lee. I'm a pastor of about 30 years in English ministry. And 5 years ago, I founded Catararis트콜리션. Main purpose of that is to mobilize second gen to serve in the nonprofit and serve the community. And also through the community serving, they would somehow link and bridge back to the church.
어떤 비전을 가지고 이 사역을 하고 계신가요?
Our vision of the Catararis트콜리션 is 4 C's. It is to convene, create space, and to connect, build relationship. And 3 is to create cause for the Asian American community so they may have an opportunity to encounter Christ. So convene, connect, cause, and Christ. Those are the ways. And the way that we do that is I create space so that there'll be opportunity to meet in service. So in our case, we have 3 services through our organization. One is to help literacy. So we have an online reading program that came about through COVID. So we meet, we convene on virtual space. Second, we connect. So out of that convening, there's a relational connection that would happen. And then out of that relational connection, something will spark to create a movement, a cause. And so if I can do those things, to convene, connect, and create cause, hopefully there'll be an opportunity to really encounter Christ in a new way. That's our desire. And then it really amplified because of our building space. We're able to have quite a bit of space between Norcross so that we can physically meet. So right now in our 3rd floor, we have an English congregation that meets on Sundays, and also a Korean congregation that meets on Sundays. And on the 1st floor, there's a Spanish congregation. So 3 services, or 3 communities of church happens every Sunday here at our building. During the weekdays, there's many meetings that we try to convene to gather because there's not an Asian American gathering space. I know Hanine has a center, but that's for first generation, I noticed, even though they do other things. I'm trying to create second generation meeting places so that as we meet, there'll be relation, connection, and trust, and good things will come out to serve the community so that they would somehow link to the church, because we know a lot of second gen are no longer going to church these days, and it's across the trend. So I felt like there needs to be a 3rd space that if they don't go to church, they need to meet somewhere. And so I'm trying to create that space. It's at the early beginning, but we are always trying to host Asian American meetings here at our space. For example, this past month, Asian Student Alliance, which is a secular student organization that serves the Asian community, they met at our space. They'll have a banquet here at our space. This coming Sunday also, we will have a gathering for special needs, because this is a special needs month. So I let a Korean individual who's doing that good work just have it at our building. So we're hoping that more of these meetings will happen so that other churches that have second gen that are not attending those churches will be able to meet in our space and hopefully have a great experience, meet great people, and in turn maybe create some movement that starts up. It doesn't have to be we directed, but we can help it so that, and eventually there'll be a positive experience that they may be open to God, Christ, and the church.
그럼 목사님 지금 현재 이 스페이스 이 빌딩을 그렇게 뭐 단체나 차세대들을 위해서 오픈하신다고 하셨잖아요. 그러면 이 빌딩 전체를 사용을 하는 스폰서가 누구로?
Yeah.
스폰서.
So this building is not ours. It is owned by Corners Outreach, which is the largest nonprofit in the Gwinnett County. They serve about 1,000 Spanish families for after-school program, job, adult ESL. So the leader of that is Larry Campbell. He and I have been great friends for 3 years during the COVID. We've worked together, but he also recognized that his organization is not able to reach the Asian community. And so he asked me to partner, and he given me third floor space. This is 4 floors. Each floor is about 10,000 square foot. We hold about third floor 10,000, but not all of it, but maybe 7,000. But it's a very open space and multi-purpose usage, and it's a corporate office space, not a chanko or a little business, but it's has that environment of corporate look, so it becomes more professional. And so we're hoping to hold for second gen that kind of space, meetings, good activities through our space.
그러니까 딱 이게 기독교 모임뿐만이 아니라 차세대나 이렇게 좋은 좀 선한 일에 쓰이는 것을 여기 비영리단체 입장에서 그렇게 장소를 제공해주고 좋은 행사를 할 수 있다.
Yeah. So as we know, with church and non-church, they don't work well together. I've seen we don't mix well. But I think what I would like to do is have an opportunity. If we're trying to do good things for the community, if we're really trying to serve the community, I think it doesn't matter for me, church or non-church. It is to really love the community. If it is that kind of activities, we are open to partnering and using that space. So for example, an organization wants to help the special needs. Those are, they need service. So that's an opportunity to serve them. Another organization, like I said before, high school students, Asian, there's an organization that serve. Both are not faith-based, but yet those individuals are doing great things for the community. And I think as a church, rather than put walls against non-church, we need to be like Jesus, who is able to maneuver church space and non-church space well. And so I'm trying to be that bridge to be able to work with church people well and non-church people well. I realized it's so much easier to work with non-church people because they're open to partnering. Church people, there's too many walls, whether it be belief, theology, or whether it be Korean or non-Korean. And I don't know if that's good example for our second gen, because our second gen, they don't have those walls and they don't care about those walls. And so if we as a church are going to bring them back, I think we need to be wise about those walls. And I'm trying to set example to work with both arenas, if I can.
우선 세미나를 준비 중이라고 들었습니다.
Yeah.
무슨 세미나인지 좀 소개해 주세요.
Yeah. If our purpose as a church to bring Christ, and we cannot wait for them to come to church. We need to be like Jesus and be where they're at. And they're not at church. Jesus visited parties. Jesus visited big gatherings. And I think it doesn't undermine our faith in any way. I think if we want to follow Jesus, we have to do what Jesus. And it's really my heart as a pastor is to make disciples. But as you know, there's a spectrum or long journey to becoming a faith. So I think if we can be in that arena, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm totally agree. 그럼 주로 어떤 분들이 대상이 누구죠?
This Wednesday, starting tomorrow, matter of fact, till Thursday, there is the largest conference for pastors in the United States. 10,000 children's pastors, youth pastors, senior pastors will be coming to Gwinnett Gas Arena for a conference. It was started by North Point Church to equip pastors. So Americans, not everybody will be coming, but among them, there'll be a lot of Asian pastors coming, but they don't have a space in their program. So this happens every year. When I found out from the leaders that there is not a space for Asian pastors, our organization is creating a space this Wednesday for Asian pastors to learn to connect, build relationship, and to encourage one another. So Wednesday at 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, there'll be a meal. There'll be 2 topics. One topic will be about Asian church, the changing Asian church, what's happening recently, and the spiritual landscape, what's going to happen spiritually. So Eugene Kim, very innovative, been serving in the second gen for a long time. He's going to share what he has learned and how the next gen needs to get ready for the changing landscape of spirituality. The second topic is by Phyllis Myung. She's going to share about women in ministry, because we know that's a very hot topic, but yet in the Asian church, it's a very new and there's a lot of controversy. And so she's going to talk about how the ladies who are ministering can get encouraged, but also inform pastors to think about how do we help women ministry and ministering in the church. This is in partnership with Korean Central Presbyterian Church, English Pastor Kevin, and also Faith 4. So we appreciate the partnership. So we're hoping there'll be a lot of people from out of Georgia. So people traveling from other states will come. So there's some Asian pastors there. There'll be few people coming from there. And then hopefully some local pastors here will join. And so they'll be able to learn, but also build a relationship with those who are not Georgia pastors. So we'll be having an opportunity to listen and learn how other cities are doing English ministry, but also an opportunity for Atlanta pastor to share what's happening in Atlanta, because we know Atlanta is the fastest growing Asian population, particularly Korean American. So I think a lot of people are interested in what's happening in Atlanta. So there'll be an opportunity of, sharing that information.
목사님은 이 아버님이 목사님이라고 들었어요.
예.
목사님이 이민 목회자 자녀로서 자란 거잖아요.
그렇죠.
그래서 그 과정에서 혹시 상처나 아픔 같은 게 혹시 나누고 싶은 그런 이야기가 있으면 좀 해주실까요?
그럼요. I mean, so there's a lot of hurts and pains. My dad was a very prominent pastor in the Southern Baptist. Not only he was a great pastor, but he church planted a lot of Korean churches, but also he was a professor and taught a lot. I noticed as I was growing up that between family and church, if he had a pick, it always happened to be church first. And so there's a lot of pain in me as a teenager that I was always second. But as I look now, he was doing the best that he can. But also he really did, as the scripture says, Matthew 6, he did seek the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added. And I think he did add to my life and the struggle of how do we minister to first and second. So I have that perspective. I've been serving in majority of my ministry has been under a first gen, and there's a lot of pain and hurt a lot of second gen has, and they desire not to work because it's just so frustrating. And so part of this week's gathering is about some of that conversation too. A lot of second gen are with a lot of hurt. And so they don't have opportunity to share. So I'm creating that space. So hopefully those things will come out. For me personally, I'm grateful for some of the hurt. It allowed me to lean on God more and think of other creative ways. But I see second gen needs to understand the first gen and honor them by listening to their journey and listening to their story. And so I think that's something that second gen needs to be more open to. And so I've seen many second gen who say, I'm not going to work and never again. And they just hurt and never work. I don't know if that's the best way. I think there needs to be understanding, and it takes time. And so that's the hard part.
그럼 사실 지금은 좀 문화가 많이 바뀌었잖아요. 세대가 좀 바뀌고 한국 문화도 좀 케이블 문화도 많이. 그러면 지금 세대의 지금 부모님이 1세대 교회 목회를 하시고 그 자녀는 좀 다를까요?
Yeah. I have more hope because we're having more even though first gen are coming, they're more open. They're not set in their ways like my parents, first gen. So I think that the middle ground young people that are coming, even though Korean speaking, they're a little bit more open-minded, more modern. I think there's more potential of being bridges. So I think the critical key in first and gen is the 1.5 generation. I'm not purely 1.5 yet, but person that can speak both language well, and also not only language, but also culture well, those are the key leaders that can help, I think, bridge the 1 and 2. And so I think we need those leaders to step up and lead this kind of opportunity.
이제 아버님과 같은 길을 가시는 거잖아요.
Yeah.
아버님도.
Yeah.
어떤 기독교 리더가 되기 원하시나요?
Long time ago, I wanted to be the next Korean Billy Graham. I wanted to be revivalist. I love preaching. But as I look back, I think Jesus is calling leaders to not be great preachers, but great disciple makers. I think if I can take 1 or 2, 3 people and go deep and really develop them to be more like Christ, I think that's the long-term win than doing a lot of people and go a little surface. And so for me, my prayer is, Lord, send me people that can invest my time and energy and to disciple. That's one of my vision. The other one is bridging the secular and the sacred. So faith communities and non-faith communities to be able to understand each other, but appreciate each other and, win them over to and let them meet Christ is my heart. So church needs a lot of changing too, but also non-church people needs changing too. They both need changing, but no one is willing to engage the two because it's too difficult, right? To think like for faith people to think like non-Christian is hard, and definitely for non-faith people to think like Christian is hard. So that's I like that arena because it's challenging, but yet I think there's opportunity there. And I think for second gen and the local church, immigrant church, we need to own our land. What I mean by that is typical Korean church doesn't go beyond their church community to invest in the school literacy or homeless care. And outside of their Korean community, they don't get involved in that. So I don't know if that's a good thing. I think we are called to the land, and we're called to whatever, Duluth or Swanee. We need to love the people around that land and the concerns of that land. So we need to be well informed. What are those concerns in our community? And so through my nonprofit, what has given me access is if I have the pastor's hat, they don't welcome me. But if I come as a nonprofit, they welcome me to those arenas to understand. So I have the privilege of walking the faith world, but also the non-faith world to understand and be able to do activities in both. So that's been giving me a great platform. Yeah.
앞으로의 계획이 있으면 좀 말씀해 주세요.
The biggest concern I have for our Korean community and also Asian is right now mental health. So right now, as we know, mental health is shared a lot, but for the Asian community, it's so much more difficult because of shame, because of the hierarchy. Tendency of Korean and as well as Asian is to not share our struggles and just keep it in. And I think it's done more damage. And so right now, our organization is always trying to educate and bring awareness. So that's one of the important projects that we are working on. And we need more Asian American speaking counselors. So we're trying to build a counseling center if possible here, because I know there's others, but we need more of it. That's an important one for me. The other one is really having more opportunities for faith and non-faith to come together. If we can solve those projects together so that we can understand each other more and have opportunities to, that's another project I would like to work on. In the month of May is designated as Asian American Mental Health Month. And so there's going to be a lot of activities in the month of May. Our organization with other partners in the United States is hosting, there's 5 Wednesdays in the month of May. We're hosting mental health talk online. So anybody around the United States can learn Asian parenting around mental health. So we have 5 amazing speakers. I would encourage our parents to register. It's www.asianparenting.org. And there's a registration to join this online, so they can be at home and they don't have to drive. They just go online from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, just 1 hour of their time. They'll get resource and learning from the best speakers around the world. The first one is Dr. Josephine Kim. She's a Harvard professor who is specialized in mental health. She'll be talking about parenting skills, and we have many great other speakers lined up. So we are trying to provide resource for Asian parents, to encourage them, to give them resource to how to parent well for Asian, because it is a unique challenge for Asian parents, because there's a cultural difference, language difference that's hard to bridge over. And so we feel as parents very 답답해 and frustrated, right? How do I help my kids so they would do really well is my always dream and heart. We want to resource the month of May, and hopefully it goes so well, and then we will try to do monthly gathering all throughout the United States. That's the challenge. This one's gonna be in English, but if there's enough demand, we might translate the future ones, but that's our desire. It's just so important, I feel. Yeah.